What do you do, Alex?
I'm a detective.
You mean you're a cop?
Metro PD. We joined the force together.
I got it. You the doctor?
PhD, psychology.
Let's see how long you last.
But you can call me Detective Alex Cross.
Okay, y'all, so I was not ready. Can we please get through 5 minutes before we start unaliving folks? Y'all, what is up? It is your girl, EJ, the TV Junkie. I am back with another first impression over the new hit thriller series, Cross. Now, this can be found on Prime, and y'all know it stars our boy, Aldis Hodge. And when I tell you that this one is definitely one that you should be watching, a must watch, then y'all, run, don't walk, just go and check it out if you haven't already. Now, listen, if you are familiar with Cross series already or James Patterson books and his television shows, well, I don't know if they've ever had a television show. I think they only had movies. So Kiss the Girls, Along Came a Spider. There was another kind of version of this as a movie as well that Tyler Perry did. So there's been many different versions of Cross made. And I must say that I think Aldis Hodge actually embodied this character so well. I think that he is hands down the best Cross yet. While Morgan Freeman is my second top pick for Cross, I am definitely going to go with Aldis. I don't know what it is, y'all, but he just really brought this character to life to me. And I was so not only excited, but I was pulled into this and could not stop watching. I literally had to take my behind to sleep, y'all, in order for me to stop watching this. So let's just jump into it. Yes, there are going to be plenty of spoilers in this video. I am sorry, y'all. If you have not watched it yet, then please know that I am going to be dropping spoilers about this entire series. And do not forget that we will be live on Monday talking about this in much more detail so that you can get different perspectives from my girl Tyra from Struggle Reviews, Ashley from My Sweet Perspective, and Kay from A Slice of Horror. So y'all, let's jump into my thoughts of, let's start out with how the episode actually opens up. When we get this episode from this television series, we open up immediately with him losing his wife. We all know that if you've watched this in the past, you know that the basis of this always starts with the unaliving of his wife. And this just takes on its own thing because someone starts to stalk his family. They start to come for him. Someone gets obsessed with him. And it just starts this whole thing of cat and mouse and chasing after the bad guy, and the bad guy being bold enough to just basically come at him as well. So this is no different. It starts out like that. But we also get all of these other intricate stories woven into this one big story, right? There's so many twists and turns going on. When I tell you that you really will not be able to keep up with it, you'll be like, wait, what happened? It's like that, y'all, seriously. So Cross, for example, let's start out with him. I want to talk a little bit about him. I already told y'all how much I'm loving that Aldis Hodge is bringing this character to life, but the character itself, you can tell that he's really struggling. He's struggling with the loss of his wife. He's struggling with trying to move forward. Yes, he has a girlfriend that he's been seeing, but it's only been a year since his wife has passed away, and he's just not ready to even go there with her yet. There's this one scene where they're trying to get intimate, and he's just like, no. She starts to try to pull his pants off, and he's just not ready for it, right? And you can tell that every little thing reminds him of his wife. It's even hard for him to really listen to his kid play the piano. It's hard for him to do the karaoke thing. There are just so many things that he's not ready to dive back into because of this loss of his wife. And he's thrown himself into trying to find her killer, trying to figure out who actually did it, right? But the way that Cross is just struggling is just so apparent, right? It's so apparent, and you just feel for him. You want to see him win. You want to see him get through this, but at the same time, everybody has to grieve in their own way. Now, as far as some of the other characters that we get introduced to, Elle is the girlfriend. And let me tell you, because Aldis Hodge is fine, I was really not feeling Elle at first. I was like, listen, I need you to back up off of him because I don't know if you're good enough for him at this moment. villain. I don't know if you are the one that we want filling Maria's shoes right now, but when it's all said and done, Elle was a real one, and she came through in clutch. That she really cared about them kids, y'all. The way that this series, when we got to episode, I want to say 7 and 8, the way that she protected those children, I was like, Elle, you a real one, and we can rock with you now. There's also going to be the friend, John Sampson, right, is his best friend, someone that he grew up with, someone that is considered to be family. But there were moments in this where I was just not feeling John at all. I'm like, John, what are we doing? I don't like you right now. And he was just doing the absolute most at points. I get that he wanted what was best for Cross, but there were times when I just felt like he just wasn't really being a team player. He wasn't being on his friend's side. And while I get why he was doing the things that he was doing, why he was pressing him to go ahead and see someone, why he decided to do what he did, I was like, I get it. But at the same time, I was giving him the side eye, and it is what it is. But there was a moment in this when he and Cross come to this big crossroads and they have this big clash, right? And they say some things that are hard to come back from, but Cross has to go back and apologize to his friend because he really needs his help. His family's been taken, and at this point, he needs all the help he can get. And he has to go back and apologize to him. And the funniest moment is the way that he was apologizing. It's just one of those things you just got to see. Y'all got to check that out. Now, another really, really interesting character is one of the ops. And yes, I did say one of the ops because as you find out, there are multiple ops in this. There's not just one person. The person who we thought killed the wife actually didn't kill the wife. The person who we thought was stalking him was actually not the person that was stalking him. The person that was out in the open actually doing the serial killing was not the person that was actually coming after Cross and his family. It was so much more personal, but at the same time, it was dumb too. I'm just going to keep it 100. The reasoning why they were coming at Cross didn't even make not one lick of sense. It made zero sense at all. When you really, really put the story together, the reason why you're coming after him is your own fault. But we'll get to that in a second, y'all. Let's focus on Ed Ramsey right now because Ed Ramsey was the big bad. He was the serial killer in this, and he definitely was not feeling the fact that Cross was getting close to him, and he had the audacity and he dared basically him to come after him. He was doing things so just like he was taking his time. He was literally replicating serial killers. He was creating his book of each serial killer that he idolized. He had a whole situation going on with it based on their birthdays. Everybody had to be perfect. And he would kidnap these people and then recreate them and make them look just like the serial killer, right? So this took a lot of time and effort. Meanwhile, this is a guy who is out in the public. This is a guy that people know. This is a guy who has notoriety. This is a guy who has a lot of money. This is a lot of people who has connections and all of the things, but yet he is the serial killer, right? And when Cross finally figures it out and they go to that doggone house party, the birthday party, y'all, that scene right there, that scene was everything. The way that these two antagonize each other, the way that Ramsey doesn't bow down and he comes at the way that Cross comes at him, the way that Elle actually figures out that she didn't know what was going on and the reason why Cross really wanted to come to this party, that was a whole nother situation in itself. And Elle was foul for that one. Girl, we trying to catch a serial killer out here. Like, come on now. Take one for the team. But anyway, I just love that particular scene right there. To me, that was one of the best scenes, was how they interacted at that dinner, what was said, the fact that each one of them actually knew, and the fact that the girl was actually right there all along. But of course, he had some special room built so if she screamed, she couldn't hear. But let's talk about the fact that his victim was a fighter, y'all. When I say that she was a fighter, she was out here fighting for her life. She was like, look, I'm not going to go down like this. The way that she fought it every step of the way. And then there was a moment when she actually tried to do the nice thing, play along with it to see if that would work. But when she realized that that wasn't going to work, she was like, bump this. Let me fight for my life. And she almost got away, y'all. There was this moment at the birthday party when she gets out of the ropes and she gets out of the room. She stabs him and everything, right? But she gets to a door and she sees this lady. I think it's the senator's wife, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly who she was. was, but she sees her. She's out there smoking and she's trying to get away, but he catches her and boom. And that lady don't even say anything because he has something on her husband. He has information on all of these powerful people that basically keep them in line. Y'all know that information is power and information is key at the end of the day. And this is exactly what he has. And he uses it to his fullest, to the fact that he was actually able to have a woman see somebody kidnapped, see the kidnapped victim and walk away from it like it was nothing and go right back to the party, y'all. All because she didn't want it to come out that her husband was Chester child molester. Come on now. What are we doing, people? Crazy. But anyway, moving on, I really did like her. I loved her fight. When it was all said and done, I was glad that she was able to get away because I was like, listen, the way that she fought, she deserved to get away, but she definitely didn't deserve to have that woman face on her because she don't need some plastic surgery or because ain't no way. We gonna have to redo everything. He done knocked out her teeth, y'all. It was just a lot. But anyway, let's move on to another op that we just did not see coming initially. I don't know what episode I started to question her, but I knew that there was definitely something going on at some point. And this is the lieutenant was another op. She was the one that was feeding him information. She was the inside person. And all because he promised her something that she couldn't have. I'm just like, these kids is overrated. You wanted a whole baby. Girl, no. Kids are overrated. The fact that you were willing to help a serial killer, the fact that you were willing to go against everything that you're supposed to believe in just so that you can get pregnant, no, ma'am, maybe it just wasn't meant to be. And now guess what? You're not even going to get to be in your baby's life at all. Guess what? You ain't even going to get to raise this baby. So now you done brought a child into this world that's going to be motherless because you're going to be locked up for life. That sounds real stupid at this moment when you really sit around and think about it. That was the dumbest thing you could have ever done. And you jeopardized everybody around you, the precinct, Cross, John, all the people that you're supposed to love and care about, also that you could have a baby because he gave you something that you couldn't have because you had spent all your money on fertility and all this stuff. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Did you ever think about that? Or maybe it was going to happen at another time. Maybe if you had just waited a little while longer. I get it. I really, really do. You wanted to have children so bad, but there probably was other ways that you could have went about this. Maybe you didn't physically have the child. Maybe you adopted a child. Maybe you had a surrogate. Maybe you should have went other routes. But to help a serial killer flat out, to know that this man is out here unaliving these people just so that you could have a child, that is selfish. And I'm sorry that you already starting out bad. You already a bad parent right from the jump, period. So anyway, y'all, but that one right there, I don't know. I feel like that one hurt because when John is talking to her and she's asking him to be the godfather, I'm just like, girl, you was foul. I feel like that's the moment, that moment right there was just, that one was tough, y'all, because you're just like, man, you really suck. So anyway, I ain't gonna lie. At some point, I probably thought it was the chief because the chief was friends with Ed, but it became apparent that that was just too easy and that probably wasn't it. But she was a jerk anyway. But at the same time, I know how these people are, believing they high-powered friends, not thinking that they could do anything. After all the things that the chief saw that Cross did, the way he solves his cases, the way he is always on point, you actually literally didn't believe him initially? Come on now, chief. You know better. But anyway, y'all, let's move on to Bobby because Bobby had to be, oh my God, Bobby was so downright disrespectful. Now, this was another person that was a law enforcement, right? But he was also helping him, another op, y'all. He was also helping him as well. And there were some moments with this one. This character right here was crazy diabolical. When I say that the scene where he's getting all coked up and jumping on the bed and just going crazy as he's getting hyped up because he needs to unalive this girl because he wants to get this phone, that was crazy to me. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, because I'm sure everybody that's watching this has already seen it, so I'm not going in any type of this happened. I'm just telling you some of the things that stood out to me. But there was a moment where we realized that the girlfriend actually took one of the victim's phones, right? She took the phone and there was something very important on it, but she didn't want to give it to the cops. She wanted to give it to this reporter because she felt like the reporter would be the one to really get the story out, right? But instead, she just put put her life in danger. And that's where Bobby comes in at, and he has to get the phone back. He's literally right next door to her room, right? And he's over there just doing the absolute most. And then when he come over there to get that phone, she actually sends a message out that ends up going to her iPad. And I knew that's exactly what she was doing when she sent it to herself. And he was like, oh, so you sent it to yourself? I'm like, bro, you don't know about the cloud? She is sending it to herself because it's going to go to her iPad regardless, right? So anyway, I was just dumbfounded that he didn't realize that. But anyway, he was all coked up and everything. But when he was in them thongs, y'all, and he was jumping on that bed, I said, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? But we all know that at the very end of this, there was something, that happened in that part as well. He's making a deal to turn himself in. And then there is another character, Kayla. She gets all the information. She's also in law enforcement as well, but I believe she works for another agency. I don't remember exactly who she works for, what agency she works for, but she's the one who always gets the information for them, right? And she's making this deal with him, but she's also making a side deal. So that is going to be interesting as well. And I don't know, I might do a separate video and talk about the side deal, because there are a lot of little things that I feel like need to be explored further, because season 2 has already been renewed. It was renewed much earlier. So season 2 is already going to be coming, and it might possibly already be filmed. But I am wondering exactly where we're going to go with season 2. What are we going to have a new case, or is there going to be another killer? But we know that there was some major things that happened to where some of the things that we thought got tied up didn't actually get tied up. So let's just jump on to that, right? Let's move on to that. So there's a part where Ed Ramsey does get caught, right? He gets caught, and then he shoots himself up with a needle, right? I knew right then that he was not gone, y'all. I said, that man is too much of a narcissist to unalive himself like this. He is not going to let Cross win that easily, right? So, and when we get to the end, we actually see it. We see that he was like, nope, not going to go that easy. He literally he is on a mission. He still wants to get a girl. So he literally has woke up off the table, is going in to put the needle into her thing. But thank goodness Cross actually gets there in time and actually catches him. So I was just like, here we go. So he ends up actually getting arrested instead. So I think that this is going to be a problem because he's still alive. And I don't know. This is going to be interesting, y'all. So anyway, there is, what else happened? Oh, the bigger op that was in our face the entire time. The bigger op was Mama Nana's friend. She was the person who was teaching the son Damon piano lessons. And this was the story that I said made absolutely no sense, y'all. This was the dumbest reason for anyone to uproot somebody's life, unalive people, and do all the things. It was just on all the levels. First and foremost, the lady is upset because he was on the stand as an expert witness, and he said that the young lady in question, that she would never be able to rehabilitate, basically, right? And this basically caused her to get life. And she was definitely mistreated in prison. She was going through some things. But we end up finding out that it was all the doggone mama, whatever she was, adoptive mama, whatever, because it wasn't her blood child. This was a Caucasian female, and this was a Black mom. And she wanted to keep her son out of prison. So she talks her adoptive daughter into taking the rap for him for something that he did. And now he's out here feeling bad about it and blaming it on Cross, because Cross was the one who said that she would never be able to rehabilitate, because the mom thought she was just going to go in there and get a few years and get out. Just take the time for him because they going to let you out because of who you are. Ma'am, no, that is not how this works. You really thought stupid. When I tell you that was stupid, it was just stupid on all levels. You're the one who caused all of this, and now you got your son out here who ain't got the sense God gave a billy goat. None at all, right? And he is out here trying to get revenge for something where he is the one who really caused all the issues. You did the crime. Your mama talked your sister into doing the time. And now y'all want to take out Cross and his entire family. And they're the ones who actually unalived his wife, y'all. It wasn't even Ed Ramsey when it was all said and done. So this was crazy work. So crazy. But it was good, y'all. When I tell you that this is the thriller to be watching, you have got to check out this thriller if you haven't already. I want to talk about this so much more in detail. I want y'all to get down in these comments and let's really get into Cross. Let me know what y'all thought about the storyline, what y'all thought about how it all played out, what y'all thought about Ed Ramsey, what y'all thought about the fact that the real killer of the wife and the op that had been stalking him was this lady who had been in their house, been in their home, just doing all sorts of just ridiculous stuff. What did y'all think about that actual story? Did it make sense to you, their need for revenge? Let me know down in the comments. Now, guys, please do not forget that we are going to be going live to talk about this in detail on Monday. So make sure your notifications are turned on and all that good stuff. Guys, if you like this video, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.